Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Sets video. Today, we're going to be taking a closer look at Simisage, so let's just jump right into it by taking a look at its typing, abilities, and stats. So first off, Simisage is a monograss type Pokemon introduced in Generation 5, and has become more commonly known as that monkey Pokemon that kind of looks like Elvis, which for whatever reason is a thing. But for the abilities, the first thing that it gets is known as Gluttony, which is an interesting ability that allows you to consume pinch berries, such as a lychee berry or pitaya berry, when you're at 50% of your health or less, as opposed to the usual 25% of your health or less. And this is a pretty cool ability because it allows you to activate a boost from your held item a lot sooner than other Pokemon are able to, and there are a lot of interesting strategies you can use with this ability to allow you to get into that range easier and then set up and do some damage with that. Obviously, the most common Pokemon that has this ability and is known for is Linoone because of Belly Drum Slackberry combination. But with its second ability, it is known as Overgrow, which is its Dream Mode ability that increases the power of Grass-type moves by 50% when you're at 33% of your health or less. And this is obviously normally reserved for the grass starters, but because Game Freak likes the monkeys, I guess, they decided to give it to them as their Dream Mode ability. And this is obviously very cool for Simisage because it allows it to do some serious damage when it's at its lower range of health. But as for the stats, it has base 75 HP, 63 defense, and 63 special defense, much like all the other monkeys, so it unfortunately is pretty frail and won't be taking hits very well, and unfortunately, unlike Simisage, you can't really run a very defensive set on Simisage that another grass Pokemon couldn't just run better. But for its attacking stats, it is very nice to have the 98 physical and 98 special attack, meaning that this Pokemon can be very threatening from both the physical and special side, which is really nice because Simisage has an excellent move pool from both sides and is able to do a lot of damage with these attacking stats. And lastly, it has base 101 speed, meaning that it will be faster than a lot of Pokemon because that's in the upper range of speeds. Obviously, it's kind of annoying for the base 100 speed Pokemon that are unfortunately outsped by Simisage by this 1 point, but that's great for you if you're using it, and proves that Simisage can be a very powerful attacker with some pretty high speed to make use of. So with that, let's take a look at the first set that I have for you in this video. So for this first set, we're going to be doing what I consider to be an offensive supporting set. So we're going to start by giving Simisage a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack, and then we're going to be going with the ability Overgrow once it's released, but if not, just settle for Gluttony for now. As the EVs, we're going to put 252 into our physical attack, 4 for special defense, and 252 into our speed to give us our highest physical attack and speed possible with the Jolly Nature. And for the item, you could either go with a Focus Sash or Leftovers. Focus Sash obviously is there because this set can work very well as an anti-lead, but Leftovers is there because we can actually prolong our death fairly easily with the set because it has quite a few options to either KO other Pokemon or force some to switch out. So for the first move of the set, we're going to actually go with Taunt as a way to prevent our opponent from using any non-attacking moves. Now, because Simisage does have some pretty frail defenses, you do have to be a little bit cautious when you're using this move because you're just provoking them to attack, which is kind of a bad thing, but the fact that you are preventing them from using non-attacking moves is really great. And this works especially well against Pokemon that are leads that want to set up Stealth Rock or Spikes or anything like that. And it also works really great against Pokemon that are more defensive and want to Toxic Stall things, use recovery type moves, and all those things of that nature. But for our first attacking move of the set, we're actually going to go with Bullet Seed over Seed Bomb, which is generally the more preferred option. And the reason is mainly because of Pokemon that pack the ability Sturdy, such as Golem, Gigalith, and even Dreamworld Regirock, I believe, which might become a thing eventually. But Bold Seed is great because it allows you to hit those Pokemon not only for super effective damage, but also kill them because you're breaking through Sturdy since Bullet Seed activates 2 to 5 times every time you use it. And that's a really good option that you have for it. It's also really good against Pokemon that want to set up subs, which is another really cool fact about this set. It's really useful in a lot of situations, which is why I like it. But for our next attacking move, we're actually going to go with Low Kick or Brick Break. Low Kick is there because it hits most of the Pokemon in NU that are weak to fighting type moves harder than Brick Break would, or at least the important ones like Probopass and Miltank and even Cacturne, and this set can actually work very well against Cacturne because you can taunt that, so it can't do spikes or substitute, which is really nice. But low kick is the more powerful option for the set generally. So if you want to go for a more supportive option, since that is pretty much the whole purpose of the set while being offensive, you can actually go with Brick Break. It has a little bit less power overall than low kick does, but it does break screens, which is another common thing that a lot of Pokemon that want to set up use. So you could use Brick Break against those dual screening Pokemon, break through the screens, and do some damage in the process. And with that, we're going to round things off by giving it Crunch as a way to hit any of those bulky Psychic or Ghost types that we run into in NU. And there are quite a few of those, but namely Misdreavus, which is almost completely shut down by this set. Crunch is more or less a 3 to 4 hit KO just because of a Violite, but you can taunt it to prevent it from Will-O-Wisping you, or Pain Splitting, or Heal Belling, or Parasong, any of those things that Misdreavus likes to do. So this is overall, as I said, an offensive supportive set, meaning that you can do quite a bit of damage to it, and you can also handle a lot of Pokemon very well with it as well, and provide some support to your team. As to this next set, we're going to start by giving it either a timid or a modest nature to increase either your speed or special attack while lowering your physical attack. And for the ability, we can go with either this time because both of them have their uses. Gluttony allows your Pinch Berry to activate earlier, whereas Overgrow allows your grass moves to be more powerful when you're at a lower range of health. As to the EVs, we're going to put 4 in HP to give us an HP that is divisible by 4, thus allowing us to activate our Pinch Berry when we set up 2 substitutes, and then we're going to be going with 252 special attack EVs and 252 speed EVs to give us our highest special attack and highest speed possible. And as to the item, we are going to be going with the Slack Berry because that will be a berry to boost our speed by 1 stage, which is really awesome because once you get that speed boost, Simisage becomes incredibly fast and very difficult to take down. As for the moves, we're going to go with Substitute, as I said before, as a way to get behind a protective barrier to allow us to attack more freely and potentially set up behind it. And for the setup move, we're going to be going with Nasty Plot as a way to increase our special attack by 2 stages. And after you've set up 1 Nasty Plot, Simisage becomes immensely powerful and very difficult to deal with, and that is just something that your opponent is going to have to try to work around because of how much damage Simisage can actually do. But for our attacking moves, the first one that we're going to go with is Giga Drain. And Simisage did not get Giga Drain until the Black and White 2 move tutors came out, so in my opinion, this is huge because it allows it to be a very powerful offensive threat from the special side. And obviously Giga Drain has a lot of benefits, not only doing damage from the grass variety, but also recovering 50% of the damage you do, which is really nice because when you are substituting, you are obviously losing health, and Giga Drain can help you regain a lot of that back. As for your secondary attacking move though, you could either go with Focus Blast or Hidden Power Rock. Focus Blast obviously gives you some really great coverage with Giga Drain and is just a really powerful move, though it does have the chance to miss being only 70 accuracy. Whereas Hidden Power Rock will always hit and also gives you some really great type coverage against a lot of Simisage's weaknesses, mainly Flying, Bug, Fire, and Ice, because Hidden Power Rock is super effective against all those types of Pokemon. And Simisage is obviously weak against all those types as well. The only thing you don't really cover with this set is Poison, but Poison isn't really that common anyway. But overall, this is, as you can see, the same set that I ran for the Simisear that I just did in my last video, and I think Simisage does it better solely for the purpose of Giga Drain being allowing you to recover health as you attack, and thus allowing you to potentially set up some more substitutes and Nasty Plot maybe once or twice. You never know what could happen, but this is a very powerful attacking set and something that will have a lot of success when you use it. As for this last set, we're going to be running a set that is pretty similar to the first one, but has a little bit of a different use and is a little bit more powerful from the physical side. So first we're going to start by giving it a Jolly Nature again to increase its speed but lower its special attack. And then we're going to be going again with the ability Overgrow if we can, but if it's not, just settle for Gluttony. As to the EVs, we're going to put 252 into our physical attack, 4 for special defense, and then 252 EVs into our speed again to give us our highest physical attack and speed possible. And for an item, this time we're actually going to go with a Life Orb. For the moves though, the first one that we're going to go with is going to be Seed Bomb because that is the more reliable physical grass type move that this Pokemon gets. Solid 80 damage on anything, and it's just consistent, unlike Bullet Seed, which is a little bit more inconsistent. But as for our next attacking move, I'm actually just putting this on there solely for the purpose that I think it is awesome that this Pokemon gets it. But Simisage is lucky enough to get Superpower as a Black and White 2 move tutor move, which is excellent because a Life Orb Superpower from this thing will do a ton of damage and damage any Pokemon that fails to resist it pretty hard. and that's really nice. Obviously, low kick can still be potentially used, but superpower is just more awesome, so I would put that here instead. And as for our next attacking move, this might seem a little bit weird, but we are going to go with Rock Slide, and this is mainly for coverage because, as I said before in the previous set, Rock is really good coverage for grass types because it is super effective against a lot of things that grass types are weak against. So Rock Slide could essentially be used on a predicted switch, maybe against something like a Swallow or a Braviary that would want to come in and do some pretty hefty damage, and it will allow you to obviously hit some things pretty hard from the rock type side. And for our last move, we could either go with Synthesis or just completely go fully offensive, going with Crunch for some more type coverage. Synthesis is yet another move that this Pokemon gets with the Black and White 2 move tutors, and it is really great because it allows you to run a physically offensive Life Orb set that much better because you're able to recover off a lot of that Life Orb recoil that you can't do with a physical set that you could on a more special one because you obviously have access to Giga Drain now. And that's really great because it allows this Pokemon to have some much needed survivability, especially because it will take a lot of damage from most hits because its defenses are so frail. But if you do want to go for coverage, like I said, Crunch is another great option to allow you to hit a lot of different types. And overall, the coverage on this set, if you do go with Crunch, is absolutely ridiculous. But if you do choose to go with Synthesis, which I personally think is the better option, just for the more recovery, that could also be useful as well. But with that, let's get into some video footage of one of these sets for you all to see. So I start things off by showing you that my throw died to a Scald from a War Turtle, so I obviously take this opportunity to bring in Simisage, in my opinion, for free because he was obviously going to switch out. Luckily for me though, the War Turtle actually went for Yawn, meaning I get a free Nasty Plot behind a sub. Now, I actually take this opportunity to get 2 because I am fearing that this Miltank has the Sap Sipper ability, so I want to make sure that I can kill in 2 hits with HP Rock because I actually don't have Focus Blast on this one. But I sub again to activate the Slackberry so that I'm faster than Pikachu. I'm not sure if with a Modest Nature if I am faster than Pikachu, so I make sure that that happens. And then I Giga Drain the Pikachu. Luckily for me, it doesn't have priority. Obviously, it's a 1 KO. Pikachu's really frail. And then I can easily one-shot the War Turtle. And as you can see, after the last Seismic Toss from the Miltank, I was down to like somewhere in the teens, and by the end of the clip, I was back up in the 80s. And that's how just amazing that Giga Drain is for Simisage, and how awesome it is that it gets that, because after a Nasty Plot, as you can see, it's doing some massive damage. But that is it for this video. I normally don't show the sweepy set of the sets that I provide in a video, but since most of these were offensive, I figured I would just show, in my opinion, the most threatening one to deal with. But anyways, as I said, this is it for this video. If you're wondering, I'm actually not going to do a Simipour video next, because I realized that Pokemon doesn't really get anything new for Black and White 2, and most of its offensive sets are basically the same. So there's really nothing I could add in video form, unfortunately. So I may do one in the future if I think of something cool, but you're going to have to hold off on that for now, and I'll move on to something else. But that's it, everyone. So as always, thank you for watching, take care, and goodbye.